Welcome to Challenge Chats, guys. We're back for episode 2. My name is Kevin Anderson. I'm one of the sales consultants for Tonkin Gran Turismo, official Ferrari dealer of Portland, Oregon. And then I also am the motorsports coordinator. So that's for Ferrari Challenge, Corsa Pilota, and have Cameron Root here. He's our Ferrari Challenge driver. Welcome, Cameron.
Hey, thank you, Kevin, for having me. I'm excited to be discussing all the great things that we have from our first race.
Yeah. I think we have lots of fun stuff to talk about for your first race weekend and another race weekend coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
Here we got the 296 behind us. No race car this time because those are where they're probably in transit to and from race team and racetracks, moving all over.
That's right. It's either in Texas. I believe it's in Texas right now, or in Nevada. One of the two places. Yeah.
Probably in between, going some there and back.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, the 296 too. That's a pretty sweet little backdrop to have.
Great backdrop. I mean, amazing machine. I think it's definitely worth acknowledging how great this car is behind us. It's the future of Ferrari.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite. I think it's the favorite Ferrari I've ever driven. I think it's that good, I would say. I mean, there's a couple of Ferraris I haven't driven. I haven't driven like a LaFerrari, but 296, I think it measures up pretty high on the scale of fun to drive.
Yeah, anytime you have over 800 horsepower in a tiny car, you're doing really well.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you were at Daytona doing Corsa Pilota, you got to drive it on the track, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So, of course, Pilota, we were driving Ferrari Challenge cars, but the warm-up was the 296, and unbelievable. I mean, I almost got going 190 miles an hour. And they even had a spot where you had to lift and no longer, continue on the throttle, and they had put a second chicane in the chicane to slow us down. So literally, even with a double chicane and a lift section, I still almost got to 190.
Yeah. That's moving.
Yeah. Yeah, on street tires too.
Yeah.
So this car's amazing. I can imagine without any restrictions, you'd definitely be hitting over 200.
Yeah. No chicane. No chicane, no lift.
Yeah. Put me in the game. I'm ready. Crazy. Yeah.
So congratulations on your first Ferrari Challenge weekend.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I'm excited that we got to talk about it.
I don't think it could have gone much better at all. Like first place and second place finishes.
That's correct. Yeah. Especially for, our new viewers, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I guess we'll dive into that now. Yeah.
Run us through the weekend, like a little recap.
Yeah. So with Ferrari Challenge, you get, as you get 3 days of practice. The first 2 days, you're able to have your coach in the car with you if you want. And then the third day, which would be a Friday, is drivers only. And then the final 2 days of Saturday and Sunday are both race days, where you qualify in the morning and race in the afternoon. And then same thing on Sunday, qualify in the morning, race in the afternoon. It's definitely a little different with Miami Homestead. That racetrack, I don't know if you know, is actually made with a lot of shell from like the ocean, the coral. So
okay, so like the track surface is different from a lot of other tracks.
Very, it eats up your tires. So the tire degradation is unlike any other. At least most, I guess Sonoma's the only other place they compare it to, and it just eats through tires. So for the 3 days of practice, I only had 5 sets of tires, which I know to a normal person would sound like 5 sets of tires for 3 days would seem
That's a lot. Sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot, but it's not. So, even like 2 sets of tires would probably not be really that many sets, because after about 30 laps, those tires are pretty well done. So with only having 5 sets for 3 days, my team went with a strategy of we'd only use 1 set of tires on Wednesday, 1 set of tires on Thursday, and then for Friday, my final day before the race, we'd use 3 sets of tires. So I'd get really used to the track, being at 0 grip, and then when I was really used to the track and basically dialed in, then I would be only used to having brand new tires to help me with qualifying and racing.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was going on 50 plus lap tires for those first 2 days.
Yeah, I know. I've talked about how you like to try and get that practice on the old like tires that are falling off, because then if you can be fast on those tires, then at the end of a race,
I'm ready to go. And I
yeah,
think that's when you're going against all these people in challenge, some of those guys, which I get, it's kind of addicting having brand new tires because that's where you're going to set your best lap times.
yeah, they just feel magical when they're brand new.
Oh yeah, you're invincible, and after there's it's kind of like you have like 2 or 3 magic laps, they're perfect, and then there's a slow fall off every lap, like up to half a second on your time.
Yeah,
And so some of those guys will just change tires after like 12 laps,
yeah,
just put the magic back on. But I'm going a little opposite there. I'm gonna, like you're saying, want to be as fast as I possibly can, even with the tires at the end, like the equivalent to 2 races on the other tire, something that'll never been recreated in the actual race. And if I can still try to set would be really good race
kind of.
pace, yep, then I know I'm doing everything the right way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. So
So
practice went good.
right, practiced it well. So when hopefully it didn't go too good actually, because I end up setting the fastest lap for each practice session on Friday, and that's where
Yeah,
like kind of the officials start looking over everything. So that I got my practice, but hopefully I don't get bumped into another category down the road because I've already
yeah,
been moved up once.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess you got practice, and then you go into, I guess the first thing on Saturday is qualifying, right?
Yeah, so that's a great thing to talk about. So, in qualifying, you want to do as many laps as possible. So you have 15 minutes to qualify. So first of all,
Okay.
there's a strategy. Do you want to go out there and be the first group of cars out there? Do you want to kind of let some of those people already go do their laps and then you go when the track's more open?
Yeah, because you want to be able to get a clean lap with nobody in your way.
Exactly. You don't want any of that traffic. But there's also the risk that somebody maybe spins out or wrecks their car and you don't have an opportunity to actually finish your lap or put in your fastest lap.
Oh yeah, if you go later in the session.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we tried to have me go maybe like 5 minutes after the first group had gone out, and I was doing really good on my lap, and right into the final corner I caught somebody, and I thought I would just go around him, and I gassed it, and when I did that I ended up spinning out,
Ugh.
and I was on the heater of a lap
Just
there.
about an absolute flyer.
Yeah.
And then
It's
last corner.
I was so disappointed in myself. So I ended up, having to do another lap. And after I did that other lap, so now I actually had to do 2 more laps because I still had to catch that speed to basically use the next lap as an out lap. I ended up qualifying in 4th place because, might have that magic of those tires. So, which I probably would have had a 1st or 2nd place qualifying position if that didn't happen. And
Yeah.
so that was tough. So that put me in a 4th place spot, which was a cool. Everything's brand new, right? So it's my very first race, and
Yeah.
when the race actually happens, they go 2 by 2. They kind of like stack you in line.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to pass anybody.
Rolling start.
Yeah, rolling start. You're not allowed to pass anybody until you're past the finish line or start line.
Yeah.
And so they're waving the flag, and I knew I could get around the guy, but I had to wait. And it was the race was amazing. I ended up getting 2 clean passes in.
Yeah. I know it's like I was there, so
Yeah,
I
Kevin
watched
was
all the
there.
races, but yeah, like dude, like your 2 passes in the first race, those were like perfect, like textbook passes. They're great.
Thank you. Yeah. What was really interesting about Miami, it's turn 7 is a real sharp turn, and I'm told that they call it flat, basically floor it all the way coming out of 6 through 7. You can floor it coming into turn 8, and it's very test your level of commitment, to say
Yeah.
the least. How committed are you?
Yeah.
And to be able to do that. And so I knew that most people wouldn't feel comfortable doing that because it made me feel uncomfortable. And so I tried to make myself comfortable, just keep flooring it through that section. And that's where I was able to get both my passes, knowing that
Yeah. You got a really good drive out of turn 7.
pass them right.
Good drive down the
turn 8.
straightaway into turn 8. And
Yep.
then, yep.
Take the inside
Perfect.
lines. Yeah, so it worked out really well. And then I think it was around. I haven't rewatched racing a little bit, but it's probably around like the 7 or 10 minute mark, there was a wreck, and so they went to a full course yellow, and I was actually pretty excited about it because I
Oh
felt
yeah,
bad.
it closed up the gap between you
Well,
and
close
first
up the
place.
gap. Well, and then I was realizing, I'm like, well, how much time's left in the race? They're like, told me like around 7 minutes, and I saw they're bringing a tow truck out. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna get this car off the track in 7 minutes. And so I was just thankful that I could end the race on the podium.
Yeah,
I had
a
worse
little bit of like
tires.
a sigh of relief.
It was. And so, a lot of my friends and family were like, oh, I bet you were just chomping at the gate to get back out there and try to get first, which, yes, that is
Would have
like
been
my
fun.
natural DNA to do that. But I was just happy with getting on the podium for my first race. So,
Yeah,
and that's what ended up happening. I wasn't able to kind of finish those last 7 minutes. And, maybe I would have got first if there would have been a restart. Who knows? Maybe I would have got third because my tires were falling off me pretty fast.
yeah,
So, yeah, no, it was a great first race. And then we'll jump in the second race.
yeah. Little did we know it would get even better on Sunday.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the infomercial, but wait, there's more. So the second race, I end up qualifying and better without spinning out, less laps on the
Yeah, you
tires.
qualified second place, right?
Second place, yep.
Yeah.
So again, like you're saying, rolling start. So now I'm just side by side with the first place guy. He has the advantage.
It has the inside line.
It has the inside line, which is to their advantage, but at least I'm side by side. And then at that point, it's not like you pass the starting line and you go. You're waiting for the green flag
Yeah, they
to
gotta
come
drop
out.
the green, and then you can't pass the first place guy until you pass the start finish line, right?
We went and talked to the race director. He said, just
Green flag
green
is like
flag is go. So
go.
that's
Nice. Okay.
that's how we took it, and and that's really what I was focused on, was just trying to have the fastest possible reaction time to that, because I'm side by
Yeah.
side with this
Yeah.
guy. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I feel like I like blinked my eyes and you were in first place with that race.
And so it goes Miami, it goes right into like two left-hand corners pretty quick, and by the end of the first corner, I already had first place.
Yeah.
I remember my coach was in my ear, and he's like, take the line," and I got to work on listening to my coach a little better, trusting him that you can just cut in because you can't see behind you, and that's what I did, and I led the race, the entire race.
Yeah.
Which I would say is totally different. Like track days, you're like pounding laps, going as fast as you're possible, or when you're when I started in fourth and got up to second, you're just focused on catching that person.
You're like chase. I'm trying to hunt this person down.
Exactly.
Whereas first place,
You're the hunted.
you're like, all right, I gotta watch out behind me, keep the pace up, make sure they don't catch you, and no mistakes. Like you can't make a mistake or do anything like that.
Yeah, obviously you like want to try to go like 100%. I felt like I drove that way for like the first lap, and I started actually pulling away pretty good, put a little gap, but then it's like trying to dial it back to like 95%, where you have a little extra if they're getting on you, but it ended up working out really well. There ended up being a wreck, or some reason there was a full course yellow as well, and so then we have to restart again on the first during the second race. I'm having to do another restart, but being the first place person, I was controlling when we started that, and I felt really fortunate that I have my coach and Bobby G, the owner of MG1 Motorsports, who's my race team I race with. We had actually talked about this scenario of exactly how, if there was a restart and if I was in first place, where I would restart it and do it right, kind of catch them by surprise, coming right out of the last corner and just flooring it. And it totally worked just like we talked about. And I was able to just pull right.
Yeah, I remember the restart, like you killed it on the restart too.
Yeah, Thomas and Bobby G and I, Thomas being the coach, and Bobby, the owner of MG1 Motorsports, who runs my race team, we were really talking about the potential of a restart, and if I was in first place, I would do that and what it looks like, and we strategized it right when I come out of the last corner just to gun it immediately, because now you have every vehicle behind you besides the one guy that's kind of behind to my side, but the way I kind of made it difficult for him. I just surprised him and slowed everybody else down. It was
Yeah.
perfect strategy. And that's why I feel real fortunate to have a great team with all these people with experience. I feel like I'm just letting them drive through me or utilize.
Yeah, I mean, it's, being fast is one thing, but then there's all the support from your team and the strategy and, just Thomas like spotting you during the race,
Yeah.
kind of being that voice in your ear about what's going on.
It's a huge help. I can't say enough about Thomas specifically. It just him it's every turn he's like telling me, he'll be like, you got a 2-car gap, 3-car gap, 5-car gap. Remember then, like I was doing, like, he was like, you have a 10-car gap. I'm like, wow, like there's that's really going on right now.
Yeah.
So and that allowed me to relax a little bit, but then I could feel them like getting back on me, and he'd be like, just look forward, and like I don't even feel like he wanted to tell me there was only like a 2-car gap and he just was.
Yeah, I mean, you got
forward.
to like stay focused on your driving and being fast, because
Yes.
if you start thinking about what's going on behind you too much, then you lose focus, and then you can make a mistake.
Big time. So yeah, I was just really happy how the whole weekend went. I mean,
Yeah, it was really fun, like watching the whole weekend, like all your friends and family there.
yeah,
Like, I was like sitting with them watching you, and so like it was just really, really like heartwarming to see like all your family like so supportive and so happy to see you racing, cheering you on. And then like it was just, the results too, just they're even more stoked for you.
it was like you're saying, having all friends, family, or I was really even surprised. I was like pushing out to some of my relatives and saying, hey, I'm going to be, racing. And and friends as well, like send out the link. And I didn't know if they'd actually watch it, live. And
Yeah.
I had all these people loving like the first race.
Yeah.
And then they were ready for the second race. My buddies told me like their kids are loving it. My buddy's like showing me like he's got it like on his dash while he's driving to work on the weekend. And
Nice.
this is like, I was
That's
like
super
this
cool.
girlfriend, she's like, I was hearing him like cheer while he's doing laundry. Like, yeah, like it was cool. I feel like, and we all like watch some sort of sports, and it's different when you have like a friend or like kind of like a dog in the race type of thing. And
Yeah.
maybe even people that weren't into racing are now way into it. And I'm actually shocked if even my family, like New Mexico and Colorado, are all watching this. And yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's like I'm looking forward to next weekend at Coda, because it's going to be awesome.
Yes.
Racing's fun, but it's also like I like going to these challenge weekends because it's fun to watch you race and get to hang out in the Ferrari hospitality VIP suite.
You want to talk about that? I think that's probably good for people to.
Yeah. I feel like that's a lot of like something that people don't talk about a lot. It's actually really fun.
Let's talk about the hospitality suite, Kevin. I mean, you guys spend more time than I did in there. I was jealous every time I was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's awesome. It's like the food's amazing. They serve breakfast and lunch. And then, they have like the open bars, and they're making like these delicious coffees. So that part's really cool. And like, it's always like a prime spot to watch the race from too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool.
I'm going to double down more on it. They fly in 5 chefs from Italy.
Yeah.
So all the food.
You love that part.
I mean, come on. So your Italian food, I mean, Ferrari wants to make sure it's perfect. So
Yeah.
your food is, I'm sure they could have found some good Italian chefs in Florida, but these people are from Italy.
Yeah.
And then they have like tomahawk steaks, ribs, all the seafood. Like you're saying, now they have some tequila sponsor. They make all these craft cocktails. They're just pumping espressos into everybody.
Yeah, and then they have like you can go get massages and stuff.
Yeah, they have a whole you can like schedule massages.
Yeah.
And this is I mean, I was very jealous. Like you guys, all my friends and family are all there, and
Yeah.
I'm in the race trailer, which is cool. But yeah.
Yeah. And then like I don't know if it's needed really at like every track, but at like Miami Homestead, they had the Ferrari hospitality people like just running around in golf carts. Like you just be like, hey, I need a ride. And then like you just hop on, get a ride to hospitality or back to the track or the pits or like wherever. Like
Wherever you want to go.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw. I had my own golf cart too, but
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah,
my coach is the one who's supposed to be using that. But my wife, Paravine, was loving
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
Me and Paravian drove that a couple times.
so we made sure for Texas. Now we have two golf carts. So one
Yeah,
for the coach and now one for the family. And they got me a 6-person golf cart, so we can kind of
nice.
push people around.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good. Some more room for 5 people and Debbie.
and Debbie. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I got more friends and family coming to that race too. So
yeah,
yeah. So let's talk about Coda, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Next race. It's next weekend. So like what, like a week and a half out at this point.
Yeah, about a week and a half out.
Well,
That's
yes.
that's for the race.
And
So
you could fly out. You could probably go there on like what, next Tuesday,
Monday,
Wednesday, Monday.
Monday,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I fly
Yeah.
out Monday, then Tuesday I'll relax. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll be practicing, and Saturday, Sunday qualifying race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and for anyone who doesn't know what COTA is, it stands for Circuit of the Americas, and Circuit of the Americas is the only Formula One track in the United States. Yes, Formula One does Miami. Now they're going to do Vegas, but those
Yeah.
are
Kodo was built to be a F1
yeah,
track.
a real racetrack, not racing in the city like a fake track, which is cool. But
The street circuit.
yeah, street
Yeah.
circuit. So yeah, it's a huge track. It's real technical, but there's lots of room to go fast.
Yeah, I was talking to someone and he's like, yeah, you can pretty much go off anywhere at Coda and you'll be safe. Like you're not gonna hit a wall or anything.
Yes, yes, that's very true. I actually was practicing there last week and turn 18 through 19, which is they have like these whole little, it's called a carousel. I ended up spinning out like on my very last practice session there, and I was
Yeah.
pushing it so hard where like the front tires, was just like, and then I just catch it and then just
Yeah.
refloor it. It was doing it again, and then the third time it just spun, and I'm just flying backwards over 100 miles an hour. And yeah, so and that it was still no problem.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to do is push the car so far where you kind of find out
Yeah, you
the
gotta
limits.
push it past the limit to find it.
Yeah, so I know like in our first chat, I was learning how to use the slicks, which I won't say it's perfect. It
Yeah.
does there's definitely a story there, but I feel like once those cars are warm, the
Yeah.
tires are warm, I'm now used to trying to find its level of grip, and I'm probably 90% there. I'm sure there's a little more on the floor there, but I
Yeah.
feel like I'm definitely pushing it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is good. You gotta push it. Go fast. Have fun.
yeah.
So what do you think is like now that you've done full Ferrari Challenge racing weekend, what's like expectations versus reality?
It's a good question. I think I like to try to put a lot of pressure on myself. I don't have like people telling me you need to achieve this. I obviously my goal is to try to get on the podium. Ideally, obviously, win both races. But my goal is to get on the podium both times, and that was achieved. But I had like my in-laws and my mom there, and they were just saying, just finish the race, keep the car in one piece. That's the victory. So like those are the people I'm going to the race with, and they're telling me just finish the race, don't hurt the car, keep yourself in one piece, so you can do it again tomorrow. And then I'm like, I'm gonna go try to win this. So,
Yeah.
but now I think the expectations are, I think a lot of people think, oh, you're gonna win again, or you're gonna get on the podium. And now I feel like there's a potential I set the bar too high,
Yeah.
because I look at a lot of the historical data. It lets you see everyone that you're racing against, and you can see almost how rare that is. That some of these people have 40 plus races under their belt, and maybe they only finished first or second once or twice
Yeah.
out of 40 plus races. So I'm confident in my skills, and I feel like my advantage is being real prepared, doing as much practice as possible. But a lot of these guys have raced on these tracks, and everyone has the identical car. Everyone
Yeah.
has the same horsepower. So it really comes into having a good qualifying time, and
Yeah. It comes down to the driver.
it comes down to the driver. So, obviously my goal is to try to get back on the podium. I think it's worth noting, currently we are the points leader too.
Yeah, yeah.
In this series,
leading the points. Yeah.
So I got a guy behind me. Shout out to you, Surreal. Surreal Chotsky. He's got 2 points behind me, so I feel like that's like the main guy. And
Pretty
then
close.
the next guy's like 10 points away. So I feel like me and Surreal are the ones really fighting for the championship as of now. Now,
Yeah.
Of course, that can change. But I was watching his race, and he did very well at Circuit of the Americas. And he's a fast guy, so we'll see.
Watch his race from like last year.
Yeah. Yep. So I've watched the last couple of years of races. You can watch them on YouTube, and I just go back trying to see where people are passing each other, or look at the start of the race. Turn one is so big in Coda. There's just so many different lines you can take.
Yeah,
So-
it's like big turn, but it's also, I mean, it's kind of sharp, isn't it?
It's very sharp, but
Yeah.
it's big. I mean, you could put almost 4 cars wide in there. So
Lots of room for activities.
let the person with the most guts win, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, you also got to make sure you make it. If you can make it through the first lap, you're probably then all the cars kind of sort out. But those first few corners to get a little dicey.
Yeah.
So
That's where it's it's like you might not win the race on the first corner, but you can definitely lose it there. So
Yeah.
you don't want to go too crazy into the first corner.
yeah, so my whole goal is if I just start first or second for qualifying, then 80% of madness is behind me.
Yeah.
And then I can just focus on trying to get
Yeah,
a
if you're
good
starting at
start.
the back of the pack going into turn one, oh my
Yeah,
god.
I wouldn't want that. Yeah, it would be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you did practice at Coda,
I did
and then
that.
you
Yeah.
just got back like last night, right, from Road Atlanta, doing practice there.
Yes, that's correct. Because I'll be the race next month.
Third round, yeah.
Yeah, the
Is that
third
Road
round.
Atlanta?
Yeah. So, and then next week I'll be racing. So I feel this has been an awesome month. I mean, what a dream come true to basically be racing,
Yeah.
either practicing or racing every week.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, and then the one weekend I even had off, I was autocrossing in the Ferrari. So,
Yeah.
just trying to, I want to take it serious. I want to win.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Road Atlanta real quick.
What do you think of that track?
Amazing. I had little expectations. My coach Thomas would say it's like one of the last of the old school tracks is what he says. Because like you're talking about at Coda, you can push it really hard, but you can just fly off without any consequences. That's the exact opposite at Road Atlanta. Every corner is high consequences. Every single corner.
Really?
And-
Oh man.
And there are plethora of blind corners where you're going over 100 miles an hour up a corner into a blind. You're going 170 miles an hour into a complete hard right corner, then it goes down into a dip, and then into these S's, and then up this whole other hill that you literally have to they want you to floor it over this hill, and it's not just like a normal hill. Then it on the way down,
Yeah.
it turns, and so you're flooring it over into this turn, and while it's just grass on the other side, and then you have to thread the needle into the straightaway while there's a whole concrete wall.
Yeah, that corner, like you describing it, I know that, like, I've never been to Road Atlanta, but you describing that corner, I know that's the last right-hander corner coming down the hill onto the front straight at Road Atlanta.
Yes.
And I've like watched races on TV there, and it's just like looks like you have to be like fully committed if you're going to be going fast around that corner.
So I have what I was explaining to Pervine. I've realized there's 3 levels of drivers. Like there would be like what you would view as like a normal person would drive, if they're on a racetrack. And then to be good, you have to be a crazy person, drive like a crazy person around that track, as just pushing as hard as you can. And then there's the next level is insane. Then you have to be an insane driver. And that's when, once I knew the track and my coach just pushing me, I'm coming down that hill trying to thread the needle. He's like, faster, faster. And he's like, doesn't want me to use any curbing on either thing. So it's narrowing it. I'm thinking like, I feel like I'm flooring it, going into a brick wall, and I'm going to die.
You're just
Literally,
like, is this physically possible?
it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's literally that level of insane where you have to,
Yeah.
I had me questioning for a second, like, how bad do I want this? Because you are literally pushing it where you feel like it's like the first time I ever felt like I'm gonna die, and
Oh my
so
God.
like that's
Damn, all right.
yeah, that's how hard I was pushing it. Like there was no more grip left in the tire. Like one thing goes bad, it's gonna be super bad. I mean, those challenge cars are safe. I mean, like you were
Yeah.
that's how hard you're pushing it, and that tracks all momentum that pushes you in turn one, and then it restarts, and
Yeah, and it's like going, the turn onto the front straight. I mean, it's probably the most important corner of the track because then you get a good drive down the front straight and gain all that top speed and time.
and then it has a compression zone, and so like when you hit that, you actually just can floor it, and you feel the car just suck down, and you're just flooring up.
Like turn one going in, there's like a compression zone right as you're
Yes.
going on the front straight.
Yeah, so it's and you're I don't know, I'm not looking at the speedometer obviously at that point, but I mean you're going
Yeah.
very fast.
Yeah, the speedometer is the last place you want to
No,
be looking at that point in
You're gonna
time.
rack at that point if you're doing that. But yeah,
Yeah.
and you're just flooring it up into another blind corner. I mean, and then it just goes. I mean, it's an amazing track. If anyone has like a video game sim, uh, or even go on YouTube and look up Road Atlanta, and just if you have an opportunity to try to drive it even on a video game and try to push yourself to realize how hard it is not to wreck
Yeah.
going that fast.
So speaking of video games, like is that like a big part of how you prepare for some of these like race weekends?
It has not in the past, but I did before Road Atlanta. I wish I would have done it more. I was like, oh, I have it on the Gran Turismo 7. I'm like, I should, try to learn the track for a minute. And I did it for maybe like a half hour, 40 minutes. They had like these things where it was like 3 sectors you would learn how the video game. And so I didn't really put all the whole course together, but it really helped. My coach said they'd never seen anybody
They're like, this is your first time here? Like,
yeah,
what?
pretty much. Like I was already beating, a lot of their people they've coached in the past times just in my first like full
Nice.
session.
Yeah, that's good.
By the end of the first day, I already had would have had P1 for qualifying. And so, and then I was doing even way better the second day. So I'm feeling very confident for Atlanta.
Yeah,
But
good.
knock on wood. I think if anything, that's
Don't jinx yourself.
I don't jinx myself, but I feel like you have to literally drive like an insane driver for 30 minutes straight, and it's
Is there any like do you do any like special stuff like to like mentally, physically prepare for the weekend?
I think
Like
what I'll talk with Thomas, my coach, about what we want to do like each corner. Like we'll have kind of like a plan. Like what are you doing here? What are we doing there? And then just walk us through like each. Like we're gonna go into fifth gear because I like had a tendency to drop into fourth gear. No, we're going fifth gear into first
fifth gear and like carry a little more speed.
more speed, and then you're gonna go up, and going into the second corner, he wants me to hold to the left, and like we had little things in
Yeah.
every corner, and that's what I'm just focused on.
So just going into it, you and Thomas were just talking about the strategy and little tips and tricks for the track coming up.
Yeah, just anywhere we thought we could do better. If there was something that was doing good, we would just let that corner be and just go to the next corner. But I mean, when you're fighting for tenths of a second,
Yeah.
there's.
Do you feel like when you're like in your race at Miami Homestead or like practicing at Coda or Road Atlanta, do you feel like you get some time where you feel like you're like in the zone, like really pushing it to like that insane level of driving?
Oh, I was. That's where I even had to come to this concept. I remember I was going around that corner. I'm telling you, you're going 170 miles an hour into this dip, and I just slam on the brakes, and I literally watched all this sweat just fly off my face and like smash on the steering wheel and dash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like how hard. I'm not like, if I'm playing sports, I'm not like a big sweaty guy, but I'm like, your body can't but physically have a reaction to how hard if you're driving at that insane level.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like going around a corner at 170 and then like hard braking from that speed too. It's like a lot of G forces.
Yeah. So like, yeah, JD, our the race engineer, he was telling me that means you're pulling 2 G's when that happens. Because he comes from
sweat flies off your face.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. So he's his background's in Indy cars, and again, it's a great having a great team behind you, and that's what we were doing, like set up on the wing and the aerodynamics. That's like other things that happened during these testing is like and we did it. We were able to get 1 mile an hour faster by changing the wing in the car by 2 degrees. Like, maybe is that a big adjustment? Maybe not huge, but it's all those
Does something.
It's something. So these are all the little details, and we're using all the GPS data and be able to go through all that stuff to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I know Pervine's doing club challenge at Coda.
Yeah.
She's been doing some practice to get ready for that, right?
Yeah, she did. When we were at Circuit of the Americas last weekend, she came and she was driving as well. So, and I kind of going back to that, normal person or crazy, insane. Paravine is a normal person.
She's not like ready to crash and die.
Right. So, but then like the coach like gets on her, and then she'll maybe start bringing it up closer towards a crazy level, and then if he's like not in her ear because we were sharing the same coach, so then he'd like flip over to me, and then she wasn't naturally pushing herself as hard.
Were you guys out on track at the same time?
Yeah, we were at one point. Yeah. So
you can pass her on the track and you're like, hey, honey.
Yeah, it was one time. It was kind of cool to be able to do that. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. How's she feeling going into the weekend doing club challenge?
She's excited. Yeah. Coda's her favorite track. And I think she'll even enjoy it more when she has some more people on the track where she's able to follow them around. And, I can't wait for her to eventually maybe get to her first race. But this definitely challenged where she needs to be.
Yeah, get some more seat time.
Yeah, I mean, she's only done Corsa Plota, and these are basically her track days now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's like you've been doing like, the autocross and stuff like that for years before you got into doing
and
track days. So, she's really like, for somebody who's so green to driving on the track, like she's really definitely jumped into the deep end.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I mean, even like the people we were going against, I mean, there's even faster than challenge cars out there. The Ferrari, I'm probably slaughter Magnificata.
Oh, the 48 GT3.
Yeah, the GT3
Modificata.
Yeah. It's like $1 million challenge car essentially, and those guys are out there, and it was fun going against them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, those cars are out. The Modificata too, especially like that thing's on a whole nother level.
Right. So
uncorked GT3 car.
Yeah. So going against those guys out there and watching them maybe pass you when you're in the beginning of practice, but then by the end, it's like you're pushing so hard you're passing them. So yeah.
So what are some of your goals for the Coda race?
Well, first keep the car in one piece. I think.
Yeah, that's always a good. That's always a good top goal.
Finish the race. I mean, of course, I would love to win the races, but I think it would be ideal would be to try to get on the podium for both races, qualify well,
podium both races again. Yeah,
that would be. I mean, fantastic dream come true, and then walk out of the Sunday essentially still being the points leader in the series. I think that really is the goal, is to, like my mechanic Chris, he always tells me if I'm able to, he goes 12 more races. He goes, if you just complete 12 races, you're going to win the series.
Yeah, should break it down, make it sound as simple as possible.
So he's like basically telling me, don't even worry. Like, if I have like a race where, maybe I don't do as well as I think I should do, because you still get points going, even for 5th place and stuff like that. Like, just if you can finish every single race,
yeah,
because people will spin off or have mechanical issues or maybe get taken out even by another driver. If you're able just to finish the races, you should be able to win the series. And so every time I get in the car with him, he goes, "What's the goal?" And I say, "Win in Italy." So there's, obviously the North American Championship, which is the goal to win that, and then from there it's go to Italy and then win the World Championship.
Yeah, win the finale.
The finale.
Yes.
How do you say that again?
Finale.
The finale mondiale.
Yeah, finale mondiale.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. So yeah, I'd say the main goal is to try to come away still the points leader, and if for whatever reason I'm not, then at least put myself in 2nd place. But and I think if I could get a feather in my cap, would try to get the fastest qualifying lap, because you get a separate trophy for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, those sounds like great goals. Do you think you'll be any more like calm and not as like pre-race jitters with like qualifying and racing at
yeah,
Coda?
I think I'll be a little, since once you kind of go through any new experience, you at least have the old experience to draw from. But yeah, I think, of course, you get a little bit of jitters ready to go. But
You're,
yeah, I'm ready.
yeah. The first race at Miami, did it feel like your heart was just like pounding out of your chest, like as you're like rolling up to start the first race?
Yeah, there was. It was kind of like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But I feel like I was just really happy to actually race for the first time. I'm sure there's even people listening to this who've raced their car on the street and maybe take a couple corners fast, like they're driving. But it's totally different when you're actually racing against other people.
Yeah,
Um,
like wheel-to-wheel racing on a racetrack. Like, yeah, it's totally different.
yeah, I mean, like my old traditionally, like when you brake or a car ahead of you brakes, you're supposed to brake, but then getting used to not braking when you see brake lights, but braking at your reference points where you should be, and just
Yeah.
you're coming right up to somebody,
Yeah,
almost
being
touching them.
so close to the people around you that you like feel like you can touch out and like reach their car, or like your front bumper is about to like touch their car.
Yeah, and you hear their engine, or like even that's what I'm trying to work on is like on my passing is I'm probably being a little too polite where I'm putting a lot of space in between our cars. But
Yeah. I
my
remember we
coach
were
wants
talking
me
about
to
that.
come right up next to him, like so close where they can't help but feel your presence and they know you're there because, they're focused forward too. But, you have to literally come right up next to them versus kind of go wide. So, you have to break every polite rule you've kind of been taught. Um,
Yeah.
as a normal driving, and that's what is being played on the track is getting so close to them that way they can't actually see you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for competitive advantage, but it's also, yeah, it's like safety too.
It's from a safety standpoint, it's safer for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess also the other takeaway I would say is also trying to get the fastest lap. You get an extra point for that. So I was able to do that on the race I end up winning in Miami. I had got an extra point for that. So you get an
Nice.
extra point for
Yeah.
fastest qualifying and you get an extra point for fastest lap. So
Yeah. Which like that point here and there will add up.
I'm only 2 points ahead right now. So I
Yeah.
feel like, if I can find a way to get any extra point, plus who doesn't want an extra trophy?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah, you gotta have you're gonna have to make a bigger trophy room.
Oh, we'll see. But I just feel fortunate to have like you guys as sponsors as well. So I just want to say thank you
Yeah.
for making everything as economical as possible.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Yeah, it's an honor to be sponsoring you and supporting you. Everybody at the dealership's always, really excited about the race weekends. I know we had had the race on the TVs at the dealership last one for Miami. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And for the people that have got a good eye, the car's being rewrapped as we speak, and Tonkin Gran Turismo's on there.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice on each
Yeah.
side. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it'll be cool to see the little tweaks to the livery.
Yeah. So that'd be something if you go and watch the other race. So you'll be able to see that. And for anyone who wants to see any of the previous races, you go on YouTube, type in Ferrari Challenge 2023 and type in Miami and Copa Shell series. That's what I'm in. And you'll be able to watch both those races at race 1 and 2. You can watch the qualifying.
Sweet.
And,
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to watch the races.
It is. Yeah. My dad even told me he watched it 3 times. It blew me away. So I was like, now he's coming down to Texas. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited, Kevin.
Yeah. Me
Ready
too,
to
man.
go.
I'm ready to go down to Austin and watch some racing.
Right? Let's go eat some barbecue and celebrate. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, Cameron, for taking the time to come out and shoot episode 2. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back. I don't know, probably in a couple weeks for have another episode that we'll film after the Coda race weekend.
yeah.
And then this episode and episode 1 will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. So if you guys want to listen or watch, you can catch it on there.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We look forward to hopefully having great news next time.
Yeah.